Hi, Ange. Congratulations on your award and victory.
Thank you, mate.
Tonight. You seem to have this this unique bond with the supporters, and after the match, you really took it in. I just wondered what that was like as an experience for you.
Yeah, look, it was. Look, the whole night was. It was pretty special from the moment we walked out, and I guess you could just feel the energy in the stadium and how our supporters sort of were really, getting behind the team, and I guess then the performance of the boys was worthy of that support. So yeah, I took my time sort of acknowledging them after the game because I just thought it was important we did that. I realised in the end I took too long because I was the only one out there, so I had to run off pretty quickly. I was a bit embarrassed by it, but like I said, when we were walking around, I just noticed that they were all still there. None of them had left early, and just thought it was important to acknowledge them, and as you say, just to sort of take in the experience myself. I realised it was a special night and it's something you want to store somewhere in your memory bank to recall in my old retiring years, mate.
Yeah. I was asked Matt the same question, Matt O'Reilly. Is it possible to maintain those levels for the players that they reached the other night for the remainder of the season?
I don't see why not. I mean, you kind of go through the season sort of trying to continually create new benchmarks for ourselves and try and create new levels for ourselves. That's the constant message, a constant theme. We've never sort of set out a clear goal in our mind of, the kind of team we want to be. We leave that sort of hanging to see where it takes us. And, when you set down a marker, as we did against a good opponent, it shows you, well, you can play at that level. And that's what we should be seeking, moving forward and also improving on that.
Yes. Joe Hendry. Joe.
And can I just ask you about the squad after the Rangers game? How have they all come through it?
Yeah, everyone's fine. No issues. We had a couple of little niggly ones going into it with the boys who were starting, but they all got through it okay, and all sort of presented themselves fine for training today. We'll obviously get back 𝒖𝒆𝒄𝒆, who was suspended, and Tommy Rogic is obviously available. 𝒖𝒍𝒍's fully available now, so they're the main sort of changes.
Will Tom get a bit of a break before the Motherwell game, or will he be available and put into the squad for that?
No, we don't do breaks during the year. He'll get a break at the end of the year like everyone else. He's back and he's ready to play.
Thanks, Joe. Jean Lewis.
Hi, Ange. We spoke to Matt there about the real bond in the team among the players, and even though he's just come into the squad, he already senses that. I get the feeling that's not a coincidence that you're a main player in encouraging that bond. What do you do? Why is it so successful? Why is it so evident that it's there?
Look, I think I've already said I've always sort of believed that environment and culture is driven by people, not some sort of precondition, pre-existing or me trying to enforce conditions on the way they should be. If you get the right people in, that kind of hopefully just drives itself. And I'm really big on everyone sort of in this building being respectful of one another and just being good people. There's nothing wrong with that in life. We all sort of grow up with the best intentions to be the best people we can be, and that's what we strive for, and I expect that here. And within that context, people are going to make mistakes. People are sometimes inadvertently or sometimes just step out of line. But if you got the right people, then it gets addressed straight away. And I think it's led by, Callum, who's an outstanding leader, some good experienced people alongside him, and I think them, the environment is driven by them. They come in every day. I'm not in the dressing room, so they hardly see me during the day apart from training and so forth. So I've always said it's what they want it to be, and you're quicker to get to success if there's a common bond within them, and that's what they're doing.
I guess undoubtedly a result and a performance like Wednesday night, brings about a real boost within the squad. Is there a fine line between you as a manager encouraging that, but also maybe having to taper it a little bit as well?
I haven't sensed the boost. I haven't sensed a change in, approach from anybody. Pretty quickly after the game, everyone was sort of delighted with the way it went, but players got into recovery mode and we're getting ready for the next challenge for us. So again, that comes back to people. The people we have here at the moment. The end goal was never to be on top in February. The end goal is to be on top when it counts. And all Wednesday night did was push us a little bit closer to that goal, but we're not there yet. So there's nothing to sort of there that suggests mindsets should change or approach should change. And so, the boost we got was that we got 3 points, played well, and give ourselves a chance in the next contest. Beyond that, there's been nothing that's sort of meant that we've had to address anything.
Andrew McLean.
Hi, Ange. Obviously a very different environment and opposition you're coming up against on Sunday. Is the message to the players just to approach it in exactly the same way?
Well, that's what we've been doing. I mean, that's what's got us into this sort of space. We haven't got here because of one performance or one set of conditions. We've had to battle our way from the beginning of the year, and Sunday will be a tough game. We all know. Away from home, Motherwell are a good side. They've got ambitions to stay in the top half of the table, so I'm sure they're going to test us out. But that's what we've been doing from day one. So again, I haven't sensed, or I didn't feel I would sense that I needed to come in and sort of address some sort of major shift in attitude around the place, because what we did the other night is, what we've been doing for quite a while now is overcoming whatever challenge is put before us.
I was just speaking to Matt there, and he was talking about how inspiring it is to the rest of the players that Callum McGregor can play on through such a significant injury. I'm guessing that's just exactly what you would want to see from your captain.
Yeah, I don't know. It's what I want to see. I don't want anyone hurt and trying to prove their sort of character in that manner, but it is a testament to him as a person that, he had it in his mind that if everything checked out from a medical point of view, that he wanted to play and he wanted to be out there because he knew it was important. He was one of the few that sort of experienced that big game atmosphere, particularly in a derby, and he knew that without him there, and obviously 𝒉𝒂 was suspended, that we were going to lack a little bit of that experience. So he didn't prove anything to me or anyone else the other night, because we already know what an outstanding person he was. But it's testament to him that he not only got out there, he actually played really well for us and drove us in key moments, and that is inspiring. Yeah, absolutely, it is inspiring, I think, to everybody.
Thanks, Andrew. 𝒖𝒍𝒍.
Hi, Ange.
Hey.
A couple of guys earlier spoke about levels, and a kind of similar theme. In terms of the statistics, your players are showing up. I mean, how much do you look at it? Are you seeing these players peaking in terms of their statistics, and have they got more to go? Or what is the situation at the minute?
We look when we analyse our performance, and that's what we do. We don't analyse the result. We analyse our performance, because the result, everyone knows what it is. You win, you lose, you draw. It's kind of no point sitting there talking too much about that. You analyse the performance, and when you analyse performance, you delve pretty deep into the individuals and how they performed against other benchmarks they've already put this year, whether it's physical, whether it's tactical. There's a lot of data out there, but we have some key ones that we look at and I look at, and whenever we hit a new sort of level, I don't see it as a peak. I see it as a new sort of, stepping stone to go to a higher level, and we feed that information back to the players because it shows them what they're capable of, particularly if they've hit a new sort of mark. Now, my view and has always been that I try and coach a team to peak at the end of the year. That's always my team's traditionally that's how they are set up in terms of our training, in terms of our playing model is let's peak at the end of the year. Now, the reason for that is because my history in football was, the beginning was in Australia, where to be a champion you had to win a grand final at the end of the year, so you had to be playing your best football then, and I've maintained that throughout my career because I think that's when, for the most part, things get decided. So in an ideal world, we'll be playing our best football come the end of the year. But, you know, obviously there's other factors that buy into that, whether that's injuries, whether that's, you know, player absences, so those kind of things. But you know, every week we're kind of giving some feedback to the players on a number of fronts in terms of their progress and in terms of the potential to improve.
So you can see the players improving week by week. That's shown up in their stats, but there's still more to go, which is quite a thing given especially the first half performance during the week against Rangers.
But that's the whole point, I guess, is that, you know, you go into a game like that, and if you put a limit on what you can achieve or how you can play, then you potentially miss the opportunity to create some new levels of performance. And so we go into every game, whether that's Wednesday night or on Sunday, saying to the boys, okay, well, the main objective will be to play our best game of the year today. Let's play better than we've played so far, so that you're not thinking about, okay, this is what we did last game and it was good and we want to repeat that. Well, you don't want to repeat that. You want to improve on that. Now, it doesn't always work out that way, and sometimes there's a dip in form. Sometimes the opposition can stop you from playing at those levels. So, but in terms of the intent, of course, we're going to improve. I mean, Mate O'Reilly's 4 games into his Celtic career, 𝒖𝒍𝒍, Giacomakis. Most of these guys are, you know, 5 or 6 months at the beginnings of a new cycle, a new way of playing. So there has to be improvement. We have to improve, absolutely. If we want to achieve and be the team we wanted to be, even for this year, if we want to be successful, we have to be better than we were the other night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ronnie. Cheryl?
Hi, Ange. You said after the win over Rangers that you don't look at the table and you won't start looking at it now. Is that something that you have to speak to the players about, or are they, like yourself, focused one game at a time?
Yeah, no, it's not about, you know, you obviously, you know, I do look at the table. It's just that I don't let that guide me in my sort of, you know, feedback I give to the players, or guide my mood, you know, or guide my sort of attitude about, you know, what's ahead. Because, like I said, the goal was never, well, let's get the top spot, you know, we've got to get the top spot. Because if you're so focused on that and you get there like we did, then what do you do next? You know, what's the next level for the players? So we've never spoken about being on top or being in first place or having a certain amount of points. Or all we've spoken about is every week just being the best team we can be and trying to improve, and that when, you know, the trophies are handed out, that we're in there. And so being in first place, as I said, is just a sign of our progression. It is part of the narrative, because if we weren't going well, we wouldn't be in this position. But it's not the end point, so it means that nothing changes just because that's happened.
Looking ahead to Motherwell, they've not managed to get a win since coming back from the break, but Fir Park is notoriously a tough place to go, and assuming that's what you're expecting.
Yeah, no doubt. I think every game from now on will be a challenge for all teams. Everyone's fighting for something, and as you said, particularly away from home in the Premiership, we know that you know, there's challenges every week, and we've tried to, after sort of the first 5 or 6 games, be as resilient as we can to overcome whatever challenge maybe before us. And, you know, against Dundee United, that was down to 10 men at home, where you're going, okay, at home against Dundee United, whose form wasn't great either, we should be a comfortable afternoon, but it wasn't. It was far from that. So that's what you go into every week expecting, whether it's home or away, it's going to be tough. But that's the measure of every team, you know, the measure of every boxer is not just the punches you throw, but the punches you take, you know. How do you react to that? And we've been hit a fair few times this year, but credit to the players, you know, we haven't gone down. We've got ourselves, you know, back in the ring and you know, start swinging again. So we know it's going to be a tough one, but we expect every game to be tough.
Keith? Hi, Keith, on you go.
Hi, Ange. Congratulations on your well-deserved award.
Thanks. mate.
We spoke to Matt O'Reilly earlier, and he's only been here a few weeks, but already he's proven integral in how your team plays within your system. The amount of chances that he's created so far and how well he's worked with Liel and 𝒖𝒍𝒍 down the right-hand side has us, the fans, very excited. How well do you feel he's settled in, and what do you hope for him for the rest of the season?
Yeah, he's settled in outstandingly well. Obviously, whenever I bring a player in, I've got a fair bit of confidence in what we're bringing in will fit what we've already got here. It's always a little bit more difficult probably at the start because you're still putting the whole thing together. But during the January window, I knew what we needed. I knew the kind of player we needed in terms of the characteristics. So when I looked at all of the underlying stuff, Matt was a standout sort of candidate for us for our football. Then the kind of little bit of the unknown is, well, how quickly is he going to adjust? How quickly is he going to settle in? How quickly is he going to understand, the environment he's got into? And that bit's credit to him. He's just walked in and embraced the challenge, loved the challenge. Says a lot about him as a person, that he's loving it. The fact that it is a different level. He loves the fact that there is more expectation. He loves the fact that he's at a club with big ambitions. So it's all a credit to him. And his performance Wednesday night was outstanding because he went into it with a bit of an injury as well, which, to be fair to him, I didn't think he would probably play, but he just got on with it, got out there, and I thought it was outstanding.
Monday was the first time in a long time many of us were able to go to bed at a reasonable hour at the end of the transfer window. We were very content in the signings that we'd brought in. Can you enlighten us in the recruitment process and how it's developed in your short time and how you were able to identify a talent like Matt?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you all got your sleep on Monday night because I think we took it off you on Wednesday night, so you probably missed a few hours then. Look, it was a good transfer window for us. I said all along we wanted to be well prepared. I kind of knew what we needed. Michael, Chris, the board, supported me in the vision I had for January, and we worked on it early so that. A key part for me was it's not just about bringing players in. I didn't want to bring in players on the last day of the window where they'd have to take a couple of weeks to get going and get integrated and get fit, or all those kind of things, because that's 4 or 5 critical games for us. And coming out of the winter break, I still knew we'd be short of players, so because of the injuries we had. So to get the guys in early, like I said, I knew the players I wanted. 𝒖𝒍𝒍 and 𝒖𝒍𝒍 were guys I identified in the summer. I knew that we could get them in January if we worked really hard on it. So I was really confident. Matt was a bit of a unique case where, things just fell into place where, he was one that I was really keen to bring in. And the timing worked perfectly where we could move pretty quickly and get the deal done in a couple of days. That was important for me. Any other deal would have taken more than a couple of days. I literally backed out of because it wasn't going to serve our purpose for what we need right now. We need guys coming in ready to play, ready to contribute. We didn't want to, because we don't have 2 or 3 games to get going. We had to be perfect again from the restart. So it worked really well, and moving forward, I'm really confident that we'll have a structure in place which allows us to work through these windows. There's always going to be some challenges within that, and it's not to say we won't be at times on deadline day still doing business, but I just feel that we can work a little bit more methodically through our transfer windows so that we can get out the business right.
Hi, Ange, well done on the award and the Derby win.
Thanks, mate.
A lot of observers have been impressed with your work in the transfer market, and a lot of the focus has been on the Japanese players. But you've seen guys from the Russian league, Polish league, Israeli league, England, Ireland. Can I ask you, what are the 3 key factors that make up an Ange Postecoglou signing? What are the 3 things in a player that
Yeah, look, it's a hard one for me to define, not because I think I'm going to be giving away secrets. It's just I often tell a story about, and I'm going to bore people, but I'll tell it anyway. But, I went to Clairefontaine, which is, where, the France almost academy of football was, where they produced some of their greatest players. And I went there and spent a week there early 2000s, so it would be, 20 odd years ago. And, they went through an identification players, and I was really keen to understand, what they saw in players to identify them, because they had 50 or 60, 15-year-olds in the building, and I was coming from Australia, and I looked at those 50 or 60 and I thought all of them were outstanding. So I'm going, how do you pick 10 out of this? It's ridiculous, I said, I'll take all of them. And I kept asking questions, and I kept asking those kind of questions where I really wanted some defined parameters of what they're looking for, an exact science. And there were some things in there that, they said about skill, about physical ability. There were some benchmarks, but I still wasn't satisfied because they weren't giving me exactly what I wanted. And then finally, there was one coach there who'd been there probably for the last 20 years and was getting sick of me asking questions. And I think he just wanted me to shut up. So he just sort of leaned over in dismissive French way. He just said to me in French, luckily I had an interpreter, he said, look, I just know. And what he was trying to say to me was that he'd been doing this job for 25 years and he had seen enough of young talent coming through to know instinctively that they fit. And there's a little bit of that in me, in that the last 25 years, I've got a real clear idea how I want football to play. So when I look at a player, I'll probably look at him a little bit differently to everyone else. There are some, like I said, some physical stuff and some, some football characteristics you look for, but there's something in me that when I look at a footballer and I analyse him, I think I can see him playing in my team. And that's always the biggest factor for me, because as you can imagine, there's so many talented footballers around the world. Like I said, they give you 10 different players and you go, geez, they're all unbelievable footballers, but I'm looking for the one that'll fit. Can he play as a fullback in my team? Can he play as a centre back in my team? So that helps my process, because I've got a real clear idea. So, there's nothing there, and I apologise for the long-winded answer, but there's nothing there that will probably get people to walk away satisfied that, okay, we've got a formula there, but it's something that sort of works for me.
Can I ask you were asked after the Rangers game if this was beyond your wildest dreams, and your answer was you don't know what I dream of. Can I ask you, football-wise, what do you dream of?
Yeah, well, I would have preferred he was a bit more specific, that's all. Yeah, again, look, it was why I enjoyed the other night. I love those experiences. I love what football does to people, players, staff, supporters. I love what those special moments are, and the more I can collect along my journey, the more my dreams are fulfilled. Just little pockets of time where you go, geez, that's something that'll stay with me, and if it stays with me forever, it's going to stay with the people I shared it with forever. So that's where it is. I've never been one to say I want to have X amount of titles or X amount of achievements, whether that's individual or collectively. Obviously, for me to stay in my role for as long as I have, I've had to be successful. There's no doubt about that, and it drives me every day. I love winning things because that creates those special moments. But sometimes you just find it in just meeting a person, and that football brings you into that space where you meet someone that inspires you and you share a moment. So, they're pretty simplistic dreams, but again, they're non-defined, which gets me up every morning chasing the next one.